Prosperity and abundance through the Most High Elohim. I am Mrs.Melanin Reigns, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be back with you all. So, happy Friday, family. I wanted to speak on something that had been on my spirit for a while as well. Today, there was something that actually triggered me to speak on it. Because another brother was shedding light on some things, and I wanted to go ahead and finally get this information out, or just speak on this topic in general. So, the topic is the simp and the pimp are both narcissists. Again, the simp and the pimp are both narcissists. So, the simp, we'll start with the simp. That's the person who, they come in usually with the love bombing. They come in making themselves seem like they're so faithful, they're so good, they're such a good guy. And a lot of times the simp has extreme longevity. And just to get into this a little more specifically, I'll speak on a personal situation. So there was this guy who I wouldn't say we dated, because there was nothing, we haven't even kissed on the lips or anything. But we were seeing each other, I'll say that. And, there was just something I was repulsed by, like we spent time together, but I was really repulsed and hesitant to go into anything fully with this person. Mind you, this person, he had no problem paying bills for me. He had no problem getting things that I needed. He would even pay attention to where, as though if he seen I liked something, when he went out, he would come back with those things that he knew I liked. And he kept a pretty cool, calm demeanor and everything. But one of the things I didn't like, it was like he was just very, I don't even know how to put it, but it was like I wasn't interested in being intimate. I made that clear to him. And yet and still, he was still like very pushy about that. Very pushy about that. And we had a friendship that lasted for years upon years. And so after going our separate ways or whatever, because their mask slips. Their mask most definitely slips. It's like, for the simp, when they've done all this stuff and they feel like they've had longevity, they feel as though you need to give them what they came for. And for him, he was trying to like push a relationship, or he would tell people I was his girlfriend and things like that. But I just really wasn't into him. And like my spirit just didn't receive him well. Mind you, this guy was like, he's close to being twice my age. Close to being twice my age, maybe a couple years shy. And so, there was a bunch of things that I had seen that were just like blah, but ultimately my spirit was just like, I wasn't attracted to him. I wasn't into him like that. We spent time. I made my intentions clear. I made where I stood clear. But he was the person, I guess, who thought like, he could change my mind over time. Okay. So when we reconnected as of recently, because I was like, did I, overlook a good person, stuff like that? Because people, men especially, like they carry this, some, not all, let's be clear. They carry this certain demeanor that certain things that they do, they would add up as them being a good guy. However, a good guy doesn't tell you he's a good guy. He doesn't do things for you because he wants something in return. If he sees that you're not even interested, or you're not where he would like the woman that he's investing in to be, he's not going to keep you around. He's not going to, and I'm not saying that like he's going to just throw you away, but if he knows that you're showing signs of lack of interest, a true quality guy, he's most definitely going to be at the place where, he loves himself and values himself enough to know that, I'm not going to entertain this, that's just that. So with this guy, with this simp, okay, as we reconnected now, I'm in a different space in my life, and he, he comes in with things because he knows me, or has observed me enough to like know that I like fruits, and to know that he can buy this type of thing, and know that, you know, what type of gift giving to do with me or whatever. So again, he came back in on that type of note, and again, and it reminded me why I had stopped dealing with him in the past, because he came back with that same like sexual intensity, where it's like, for example, we were standing in the kitchen one day, and he like put his private area up on my, and I don't like that. I know that we live in a world now where anything goes, but where I am in this space of my life, I really don't play about that. And I just, if I'm not, especially if a woman's not interested in that way, like we're so repulsed by those type of actions. And I just thought it was disgusting, because he's in his late 40s, and don't put that on me. I don't want that. I don't want nothing to do with that. Now, this time around, I was interested in actually dating and pursuing the relationship in a different way. But very soon, you know, those same red flags were shown, and I was reminded why I was repulsed by him in the past. What really hit the nail on the head is when, you know, after he realized like I wasn't trying to be intimate, because I told him like, we don't need to be intimate. And I know that people will say this is too far-fetched, this is too much, but I don't care. I am not interested in being intimate with someone who is not my husband. I'm not. And if I'm not worth committing to, I can completely understand that. I'm not going to ever force anybody to commit to me or anything of that nature. But if you cannot get to know me outside of sexual and sensual activity, then I'm not interested. And I wholeheartedly will stand by that, because that's how pregnancies come about, and men ditch you. That's how, you know, all types of different things come about, and you're left hanging because you've opened yourself up to this person. So that's, you know, a part of my reason. It's just not necessary. And so after, you know, we had spent time together or whatever, and I told him like, no, I'm not, especially because he's supposedly supposed to be Christian. You're Christian. The Bible tells you that sex before marriage is not proper, you know. And of course, I know people don't abide by the Bible, but I just said it to him because, like, if you're so Christian, then why are you trying to pressure me to have sex with you? So he went to work. He was at work, and this was the last straw for me. And he called me, and let me remind you, I'm in my early 20s, okay? I'm in my early 20s. This man is in his late 40s. You're calling me on the phone from your job to beg for cooch. That was the last straw for me. That's not attractive to me. That doesn't make me feel like, ooh, he wants me so bad. It was the most clowned out thing that it's not the most clowned out thing I've ever experienced, but it was very disgusting to me. So I told him, like, you know what? I think it's very disgusting. It's actually very unattractive that you're calling me from your job. You're calling me from your job. You should be working. Work. You're calling me from your job to say to me. He was like, hey, I really think you should change your mind about da-da-da-da. Sir, I made it very clear where I stood when it came to that, and you're calling me from your job like you didn't have anything else to think about while you were working? You're calling me from your job begging for cooch. That's very unattractive. That is very unattractive. So, as far as the simp usually comes in with the love bombing. You know, they come in with the love bombing. They have their mask on, and they will be, they're more so covert with their things. They're covert with it. So they'll go as far as to learning you and snooping you out appropriately. They'll take as long as they think that they need to think, especially when you guys separate and they come back. When they come back, you're going to see that they're going to be even more like forceful in a way, because they feel like they have to get what they came to get, you know. And this person knew somebody else that I dealt with intimately, so he pretty much came back around in a way where, you know, he had to get sexual intimacy because he needed to feel as though, like, you know, the other person that he knew was not better than him, or he kept mentioning this person over and over and over. Like, he kept mentioning this person, and it was as if it was like, he's comparing himself to the other person, or he wants to be on a level as the other person, or he felt insecure because of the interactions I had with the other person. And, that's not my problem. That's not something that I would even want to build a relationship off of, another man worried about the next man. And yeah, so the simp, okay? The simp comes in with the love bombing. They have that mask on, and they're pretty much just trying to learn you. It's just another tactic of manipulation. They just go about their ways covertly. Now the pimp. These people, the pimp, right, is more overt most times, and they are more so like they might do the gift giving, the love bombing as well, but they don't do it to the extent of making you feel like so above them. The simp kind of like will try to elevate you above them, or make you feel like they're so dedicated to you. They're all about you. Meanwhile, the simp 9 times out of 10 has women on the back burner as well. They're very similar to the pimp, okay? But the pimp, they're more overt about it. They'll let you know, like, I'm player, I got it like that, I got women, and they almost immediately start to triangulate you with other women. Even if it may seem like they're devaluing the other woman, they almost immediately start to triangulate you with other women, whether you might go out and you'll see them just like, you can see them lusting over other women, or if they're artists, you'll hear them always talking about all the women they've slept with, all the women they did this and that with. They're, even if it's not romantic people, these men will triangulate you with their mothers or the opinions of their best friends, their sisters, whatever the case may be. And so the pimp, triangulation is definitely one of their favorite tactics, like almost right away. And then they also devalue you. It starts off covertly, like little jokes or like little slights, or they'll feel like they'll try to sell it as if they're giving you advice to better yourself or how you can level up. They'll almost immediately start to devalue you. And so with the pimp, see, I have experience with this one too. For one of the guys that I was dealing with, he like one of the comments, I don't remember what he said specifically, but he followed me on social media, and then he unfollowed me because basically he was saying like, oh, I don't, I'm not into that type of thing. Like, basically the fact that people would comment on my stuff and the amount of, responses I would get on my social media, it bothered him. So he tried to downplay me as if like, like almost making it seem like without social media, like I'm not who I am, in a sense, like basically saying like any progress, any projects that came from social media, they're not valid. Like if I don't have a 9-to-5 or a regular job, it's not worth recognizing. So I don't want to go too far and make this video too long. I just wanted to mention it really quickly that the simp and the pimp are both narcissists. They just use different tactics, and they go about their manipulation in different forms, and it varies. Of course, I'm going based off of my experiences and what I have observed personally. But both of these parties are insecure, very insecure. The simp wants to use money and gifts and things like that to draw you in, because they don't feel like they're worthy just by themselves, okay? And then the pimp wants to use triangulation and making you feel always on guard about other women, and try to make it seem like other women want them so much and they're in popular demand, and there's a scarcity of them and all of those type of things, so that you would be drawn to them. They use the mind games to keep you close to them, so they'll withdraw from you. They'll be emotionally detached. They'll try to go days, weeks, whatever, that's abnormal without speaking to you and things of that nature, or they'll only use you for sex and whatever. It varies, like I said, but I just wanted to bring that to you guys because it was on my spirit. Again, have a happy Friday, have an amazing weekend, and I'll talk to y'all soon.